What's up? It's the Brunch Breakdown. DD out here in Los Angeles. Chris is in Pittsburgh. Dan is. Do we know where Dan is?
And I don't. He might have told us, but I don't always pay attention to what he says.
Me neither. And so I'm just going to assume he's in Ohio somewhere.
Well,
Because,
Cleveland. If he's in Ohio, he's in Cleveland. Like
no, yeah,
that's
he's there. You go. He's in Cleveland. Because every time Dan like loves Cleveland,
he's vacationing.
loves it. Like he might be buying a house there. There might be something there because I know he's looking for houses, and it's kind of gotten quiet on the house hunt front.
Hmm.
And I'm like, is he moving there? Just
Right.
not saying anything,
Yeah.
warming us up.
You can still commute to Pittsburgh from Cleveland.
You
And if he
can.
maybe if he moves there, he doesn't have to drive through a tunnel. So this actually might make a lot of sense.
Okay, all right. See, the Browns are moving out of Cleveland, like to a suburb. So like,
Oh, maybe he's getting in on like the
mhm,
development they're gonna make and
yeah, Dan, the property man, he's jumping in on that quick.
makes sense to me.
Well, we're gonna hear from Dan in a little bit. Today on the show, it's Dad Brunch, and we've got a lot of things to talk about when it comes to us being dads and husbands. Because Chris has some microwave drama going on in his house, and I want to hear about that. And we're gonna be talking about other random dad things and the people that they show in the stands on TV.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought this up in the group chat because I've been watching a lot of NBA this week as it started, and I'm like, I don't need to see this. That's a tease on my TV anymore. So happy you brought that up. And we got beer, we got music, we got more. It's the Brunch Breakdown. Chris, let everybody know where they can find us.
You can find us by going on social media, ideally Twitter/X, or you could go to Instagram, look up Steel City Dan 22, send him a direct message and ask him where.
Oh, that's good. Right there.
Hmm.
Yes. Just hit up Steel City. He'll tell you where we're at.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get random topics off my chest right now. So here it is. Um, Coffee. Okay.
Hmm.
You know how people buy the big carafes of coffee
I
at
do.
like for certain functions, like you get like it's a work meeting or whatever. They get the big the box of Joe is what Dunkin' calls theirs. Starbucks has their big thing or whatever. Um, I have to say, don't go get that thing too early. Because I went to a thing recently, and I'm not going to say what that thing was. And it was warm. And I don't know why coffee in those things does not taste good warm, right? And I was at this thing on time and it was warm. So that means someone went and got these carafes like an hour or two before, maybe even longer than this before this meeting started. So all the coffee was warm. And I was like, I'm not crazy. And I asked somebody else, like, yo, is this coffee like trash? They're like, yeah, feels like it was like from yesterday. So I just want to say to anybody out there who's planning something with the box of Joe, like get it closer to when the meeting starts. Don't get it like 6 hours before or whatever this person did. Or I don't know if they just like, I don't know if they just had some left over from yesterday. I don't know what happened. But man, dude, did it just make this thing very uncomfortable for everyone? Because it was just a very boring meeting and it could have been better with coffee, but then you had trash coffee and then everyone couldn't wait to leave to go get coffee basically. So,
So, so
yeah,
it was warm and you wanted it. You're saying you wanted it hot and
I
it
wanted it
wasn't.
hot.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So it was like lukewarm.
Yeah,
And then you gotta kind of chug it because once you pour it out of there, if it's already warm, it's gonna be cold in 5 minutes.
exactly.
That's
It
not
was just
fun.
not what you wanted at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Makes sense to
Where,
me.
yeah, you get out your car, you know there's gonna be coffee, and you're like, the first thing I want is coffee. And then you don't get coffee, you get caffeinated water.
Well, that's kind
Like,
of what coffee is. Yeah.
but I want it to be hot though.
Okay. Yeah. No, I hear you, man. And
I want my
hey,
caffeinated hot water.
I'm a I'm a stickler for beverage temperature, so I feel you on this. Dan actually hates that I put like a couple ice cubes in my coffee, because I don't put anything else in it. You know, most people, if you put like some cream in there, it'll bring the temperature down just a tick to make it not scalding hot. Like it'll just make it like the perfect temperature of hot, bring it down so that you don't burn your tongue. I don't put anything in my coffee. So what I'll do is I'll drop like one or two ice cubes in there to bring the temperature down to perfect hot level where I can enjoy it and, you know, get it finished before it does get to cold. So if I would have showed up in that situation, I would have been like, before we start the meeting, where is the microwave so that I could heat it up to the proper temperature? Was there a microwave in this situation, or did you have no options?
I didn't know where I was, so I was like I was in a new situation. So I didn't know where the I
Were
didn't know
you
what was in
were
the
you
building.
abducted, Dee Dee? Was this really was it what kind of a meeting was this? What happened? I'm just glad you're
Dude,
safe now.
that's the life. The life of freelancing is honestly not knowing where you are from day to day. So I just go into this big building. I don't know where I'm sometimes in the wrong elevator. I'm in the wrong whatever. I'm happy I just got to the right place. And then I'm there and it was just like, I don't know where the microwave is. I don't even know where I parked. I don't even know where my car is. Like I got here. So yeah. Yeah. If I would have known where the microwave was, yes, that's what would have happened. I would have went to the microwave.
Oh, see, now
Yes.
I'm hearing a new potential niche that we can go after in our cup holder conversation that we've had about like creating some type of cup holder
Hmm.
for parents. Maybe we create a cup holder for freelancers that warms and or cools based on the coffee you are given at your freelance meeting.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this, Christopher. We're we're gonna get the market for freelancers and parents. We're gonna figure this out,
They say niche down, right? So
dude.
trying to.
Well, Chris, get it off your chest.
Thank you, Dee Dee, for this opportunity. I want to talk about being a parent and consuming content on social media, which I tend to talk about from time to time on this podcast. I want to talk about two different types of posts. One that makes me kind of mad, and then one that makes me kind of happy. Okay, we'll start with the mad one first. I've been getting a very similar type of post on my Instagram feed lately where it is basically like parents monologuing while showing B-roll of their family with their little kids talking about how like essentially this phase where they're little, you know, born to 5 years old or whatever, how it's not going to last forever and you need to maximize it. You need to enjoy every single minute of it and realize that once it's gone, it's never coming back and it's gone forever. And they're right. There's a lot of special stuff that happens when your kids are 0 to 5 years old. All of mine are in that range right now. One of them's getting close to leaving that range. Dee Dee, you're in the same position. Okay, so I think we can both agree. Yeah, a lot of very cute, a lot of very special, a lot of very memorable stuff happens in that time frame. But I feel like these posts are just designed to make you be depressed. Okay, and that's where I have a problem with it because, like, I was thinking the other day, there have been many phases throughout my life where when I'm in it, I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm going to be sad when it's gone. Like, I loved high school. And when I transitioned to college, I was like, I had a weird 6 months there, right? But then, like, I filled it with something else that was happy. And then graduating college, I loved college. And so there was a weird 6 months to a year there, but then like I filled it with something else, right? And then like you get to that phase where like you're done partying with your friends and you're kind of like in like that quote unquote settling down mode, right? Where you get engaged, get married, buy a house, do that stuff. And so like that transition was weird, but I along the way filled it with something else. And I feel like I don't I don't need these posts making me feel like when my kids turn 8, my life is over. I just don't, you know, I think like there will continue to be fun stuff throughout your life, no matter what phase you're in, if you do it the right way. And it might not be like your kid running in the door wanting to give you a hug and you know, jumping into your arms. Like that's not going to happen forever. And I know that and I'll miss that, but I'm sure like when that's over, I'll fill it with something else with my kids that will be just as memorable. So I just want to put that out there. Like people stop trying to make me depressed on social media that like once my kids go to first grade, my life is over because that's not the case. The second post that now kind of makes me happy. I'm curious of your thoughts on this one, Didi. Um, I saw a post the other day that was like, are you a parent, like a millennial parent who is told and like tries to gentle parent all the time, but you were raised by boomer parents who did not gentle parent you. And so like by the end of the day, you're just like, get the fuck in bed. I can't take it. And I was like, this is my parenting. This is how I feel every day. I start the day off. I'm gentle parenting, man. I'm doing it. I'm doing the stuff that they tell you to do, and it's not going to ruin your kids' lives. But then by the end of the day, I'm just like, shut it. Just shut it down. Please go to bed because I need like a half hour. I need a half hour. I felt like that like hit home very much for me. And in stark contrast to the post that like I feel like is out to get me and kind of like make me feel bad about myself or feel depressed as a parent, this one was like, no, thank you, because somebody gets it. Somebody gets it. And that's the way I feel, man. I try, I don't know about you, I try the gentle parenting. Try the gentle parenting in public. Try that like today at church, buddy, was our worst performance of all time. And I told Dee Dee a bit about it off air. I'm not going to go into the details because I don't want to relive it and I don't want it to be published on the internet. But it was not our best effort. And yeah, like you could gentle parent for as long as you want, but if your kids don't want to hear it, then you gotta get into more of like, I guess, hard parent and just be like, we're gone. You're gonna sit in the car and we're gonna shut it down. So those are my parenting thoughts today. That's what I wanted to get off my chest.
Hey man, listen, when it comes to the church thing, shouts to you guys for trying because there's no worse place. There's no place that's more set up for you to fail than church.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you're
true.
just set up to fail
That's true.
because you have this pressure because you are in your late 30s. You know what church is. You have been around church. You have probably been hitting the wrist in church. You've probably been told to shut up in church a million times.
Hmm.
You know the gravity of these things. The kids don't.
Hmm.
They have no idea. In 30 years, they will, but they don't know now. So there's no place that's more set up. And there's just like no place that's going to get, snarkier looks from other people. You
Yep.
know what I mean? You feel like you feel like you're being wrong because you know how church is supposed to be and it's supposed to be quiet and you're supposed to do this. Like, so there's just it's like everyone is like failing. Everyone. It's like it's before you walk the door. You already know that like you failed. And as soon as somebody makes a noise, another one makes a noise, another one makes a noise. It's like whatever. But shouts to you for going because we have not. We've not gone down that road. So I shouts to you for getting people up and ready and dressed to go fail. Shouts to you.
That's pretty much it. We're failing in the house of God every weekend, and
Yeah.
one of these days, well, most of the time they do all right, but today was just an all-timer. Today was an all-timer, and you know, I've
Did you pull the hook? Did you get him out? Did you
yeah,
say we're
yes,
exiting stage left? Let's get the fuck
yeah,
out of here.
I did, and I think like actually for me, I've been in a lot of so have you, so has Dan. Like I've been on stage having a lot of eyes on me before. You've done a lot of stuff where a lot of eyes are on you. Same with Dan. And like me having to stand up and take a kid out of church when I know everybody's looking at me, I didn't really care about that. But I know a lot of parents that is just the most uncomfortable thing that you could ever imagine, where you sit and then you have to walk past all the rows of people when your child is kicking and screaming just to get them out of the church. That's what happened today. And then because I took my one kid out, then my oldest, she was just like, well, I'm just going to stomp out. I'm just going to leave on my own, which left Katie with the baby to try and figure out how to get all of our stuff together. It was just, it was, it was not, it was not how you draw it up, Dee Dee. We drew it up in the dirt beforehand. That's not how it was supposed to, it's not how the play was supposed to go down. But, but here we are.
I
We'll try gentle parenting again today and see how it goes.
Yeah, gentle parenting. It's not like my form. I've realized that gentle parenting is basically not cursing as much as my dad did. That's where I've landed on gentle parenting. My kids will not hear half the curse words that I heard in my lifetime.
Yeah.
By the time that I was 6 years old. No, like she's heard way less than that. So that, in my opinion, that's millennial parents out there, just remember how much your parents cursed and
Yeah.
whatever. Because Siobhan does that sometimes. Because like, I forget one time I like yelled and Saoirse got upset and she was like, and Siobhan was like, my God, these kids, like, do you understand how that was not yelling in my household?
Oh, what is considered yelling is
Dude,
like it's
bruh.
if you talk sternly, people are like, you just yelled at your child. I'm like, bro, like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, oh my God. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
like if gentle parenting is intended to be a thing and it's the best way to raise kids, it's like anything else. It's like if you want something to change, it takes generations of people to change it, you know? So like
yeah.
our parents raised us, their parents who grew up in the Great Depression raised them. Like we're not going to go from the Great Depression to like sunshine and rainbows in 100 years. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's
No.
going to take a little more time than that. We'll do our best, but like sometimes, man.
We're all we're all working. We're all trying. But as for social content, the millennial parent stuff, that's great. But yeah, that other stuff is basically people who are trying to make you feel sad for them yelling at their children for having whatever their B-roll is, whether it's like toys everywhere. Because I see a lot of people do like the messy toys everywhere or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna miss these moments." No, that means you stepped on a Lego and lost your shit. So now you're going on social media to try with freaking Arms of an Angel playing in the background and trying to make people feel sad about yelling at their kids. That's because they feel bad about what they did yesterday or 2 hours ago or whatever. That's what that is. I see
That
that shit all the time, and I see straight through that.
that makes a lot of sense to me, man. The
Yeah.
one I got a lot of people because you know how some people use the same sound, but they'll make their own video. I
Yeah.
got the same sound like 3 or 4 times, but different videos. And the monologue was like, one day there will only be 2 jackets hanging on the coat hanger instead of four. And the house won't be colorful. And you'll wish you had those noises. And there won't be toys everywhere, but you'll talk about the joy that those toys bring and all this shit. I'm like, can we like I'm having fun and surviving at the same time. Can we just stop? Like I'm not I don't know, man. I don't think when my kids go to high school, I'm gonna be like crying about it. I don't know. We'll find other shit to do. And then like I don't know. I think it's
Th-
just like it's
I'm
over the
with you.
top. Let's look a little further down the road here. It's gonna be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Like your life doesn't end. Like, yeah, I don't subscribe to that language that I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, when your kid's 10, you're gonna be missing that they're three. I'm like, got a feeling? Not gonna. Just not. But to tell you that right now, not gonna be missing anyone being three. Like, not gonna miss it. So I'll
Yeah.
tell you that right now.
I think I'll enjoy staying in church the whole time. You know? Like that'll be cool.
Dude, forget church. Like I'll enjoy being able to go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah. Or like
like
staying for a full football game, bro, which has happened to me once this season.
yeah.
So that'll be cool.
Or going to the restaurant, and the worst part is that like nobody wants to talk to me. That's the worst part. I'm like, none of you guys did anything in school today? Nobody? And that's the worst thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Everyone's eating their food. No one's throwing anything. Crayons aren't on the floor. We don't have to carry 2 huge bags to get in. There's no strollers. Nothing. Like, no, yeah, I'm gonna miss that. Like, get the fuck out of here. No one's gonna miss that. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Like,
It's gonna be okay, everybody. It's gonna
yeah,
be
it's
okay.
gonna be fine. Well, Chris, what are you sipping on, man? Brews Day. Let's get it.
This is perfect time to talk about beer, because I've been drinking beer lately, Didi. And Pitt had a football game on Thursday night, and I picked up some. It's a hazy IPA from Cinderlands
Ooh,
Brewing called Squish. And I got it
nice.
because Squish tells me we squeezed some citrus fruits into this bad boy, and it was delicious. I tell you though, I mean, obviously the atmosphere that you drink in determines how much you pay attention to that drink. I did not pay too much attention to like the flavors I was taking in while I was at a football tailgate. I enjoyed it. Couldn't tell you much about what it tasted like though, because we were just It was actually just me at the football game, and me and the boys talking ball, drinking beers, watching Pitt go 7-0. Okay, that's what dreams are made of. So it was a good time. I was with Steel City Dan. He approved of my beer, and we're all good. So that's what I would like to highlight this week, Didi. How about you?
That's beautiful. And I gotta say, that was the most Thursday night game that because it's been a while since we've had to watch, since I've like thought about watching a Thursday night game, but it used to be like our lives. And Thursday night used to be weird, real weird. Like
Yeah, that
five,
game was weird.
like three pick six is weird, like weird.
Like one
Like
team shows up and the other doesn't.
yeah, and
Weird.
the other just doesn't show up. And
Yeah.
I attended a lot of Thursday night Big East games, and those games would just be weird. Whether it was just a weird first half or a weird second, like just weird. And
Yep.
like that game felt like old Big East, and it was happened to be Pitt and Syracuse, and it just felt like a Thursday night, like weird ass game. Like
Felt
it
like
just felt like that.
felt like home. Felt like
Yeah,
home.
it did. It did. And I watched like the first half of that game and I was like, this is nostalgia right here. Like just just make the cameras a little shittier and like this is weird
Just be
Thursday night.
square. Yeah.
Yeah. This is weird Thursday night football right here.
Love it.
Um so I have been drinking Golden Road Taco Truck, their lager that they have, and it is just a great Mexican lager. I've talked about it here on the show before, and I had it this week, and it's just really good. Had it with some tacos, and it was awesome. So shouts to Golden Road Taco Truck. Love
Uh,
it. Love it.
Nice. Sounds like you paired it with the right food.
I did. I did. I think that was the point. Maybe. Oh man. All right. Well, let's get into the main menu, Christopher. Let's get into it. Fans that should be shown on TV. I want to get into it.
Yeah.
Let's go. What made
It,
you think of this?
yeah, so the starting point for this was I was actually my daughter fell asleep in the car on Saturday, so I did the classic dad thing where I just stayed in the car in the driveway and let her sleep while
Okay.
everybody else went in the house. And so I was watching games on my phone on the dashboard. And I was watching Memphis against whoever. Every other game was at halftime. And this kid was like really badly limping off the field, going into the locker room to get examined for some type of injury. And they showed his parents in the stands while he was like limping off, going in to get evaluated. And his parents were looking at each other like with confused slash worried looks on their faces. And to me, I was just like, this doesn't feel necessary or appropriate at all. Like maybe, especially in college football, like maybe we don't need to put the concerned parents who are probably having a very serious conversation about like I don't know, is their kid concussed with a brain injury? Like I don't know what the injury was, but I feel like it just was not the right time to put parents on TV. And maybe we shouldn't do that at all unless we're telling a very heartwarming, positive, uplifting story. Like I think the context to it always matters. But that's the thing that kicked this idea off for me. I was just like, if if that was my kid, I would be horrified to find out that I was then on TV, like worried, crying, trying to figure out what was wrong with him. It didn't seem right.
So, what makes that weird to me is that because that happens a lot. Um, it- I think it's weird because they've been watching their kid play football his whole life. So, like, he's been hurt before.
Hmm.
So they're probably not as worried as it makes it look. And it's kind of like they're probably looking at each other like, all right, let's wait for like a signal or something, and then we'll go
Hmm.
down. Somebody tells us. And like, I don't know. I see that and I'm like, it's not interesting when you show a parent who is a football parent. And like probably an hour before, they're like, "Oh yeah, his dad is a high school football coach. His brothers both played football too. His mom, she's a rugby star at Rutgers." Blah blah. And like, you're like, they don't care about injuries, guys. They don't. So I'm like, but yeah, I hear you on that. They should not show parents in the stands.
I mean, sometimes they do it after like the horrific ones too. Like a kid like
Yeah.
tears up his legs getting carted off like into an ambulance to go to the hospital, and they show the parents like just losing their minds, like, oh my God, what do we is he what do we do? It's like maybe don't. Maybe that's like a private family moment, even though he does play football. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you. I feel that same way when I watch boxing and like the wives are there, sometimes kids are there,
Hmm.
and it's just like it's cute when they win, but I don't even know how cute it is when they win. It's like it's weird that you just watch your dad get hit in the face a bunch of times
Yeah.
over and over again. But when they show the wives and kids at boxing matches, it always bothers me. But my main gripe with this week is owners. I don't want to see owners on TV ever.
Hmm.
Like ever. Ever, 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 ever. I don't care how crazy they are. Like Steve Ballmer for the Clippers is basically like a crazy person.
He's a
Like
psychopath.
he's a psychopath, like absolute psychopath. But I watched the Clippers game and oh my God, the amount of shots like they showed him as much as they showed Kevin Durant, and he played and scored 35 points. Like, I'm just like, guys, please. I understand that we like Steve Ballmer. I love the fact that he built that whole stadium with his own money. He didn't ask taxpayers for it. He built the whole thing with his own money. I get it, all of it. But like, we don't need to see his face that much because it was ridiculous during the game. It's like, I get it. We like him, but please, for the love of God, stop showing him. Stop showing him. Stop showing him. And they do this with, I think, the Suns owner. They
Oh yeah.
he's a dipshit in a different way. No one really
He's
likes him.
he's super young, right?
He's
Because
yeah, he's like younger. Yeah, 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 yeah.
he owns the hockey team out there now, I
Uh-huh.
think, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He owns a hockey team out there too, and he got rich off of weird, like weird, like real estate something. I don't know, but anyways, billionaire. But he's kind of like an asshole. But they show him all the time too, and it's like just stop showing owners. I don't want to see them. Like just don't.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
done
like
with them.
they either show the young ones who like are just whores for attention, or they show the
Hmm.
old ones who, I mean, it's not interesting to look at them. They're just sitting there watching the game. The only one that seems to make sense to me is Jerry Jones because he won't shut up. Like he's like he is the storyline because he never stops talking.
No,
So
ever.
I get why they put Jerry Jones on TV because he's such a loose cannon, but other than that, yeah, I don't get much out of like Art Rooney the third just
Dude.
watching a football. Like I don't. Okay, he's there. I figured he was. Thank you. Like,
Yeah, like, and then they kept showing the Celtics got their rings, and then like another thing that pisses me off too is like I hate that the owners get the rings first or the touch the trophy first. I hate it so much. I hate like I get that you own the team, you pay the salaries, I get it, but like you had nothing to do with this,
yeah, all the people
like
you hired did it.
nothing. Nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so it just annoys me when it's like, oh yeah, we're doing the ring celebration, and then the owners get the rings and they're like putting it up to the crowd. Like, oh yeah, I'm like, that should be Jason Tatum. Like you should be last.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying you shouldn't get your moment, but it should be like last. Like just last. It bothers me.
Yeah.
Oh
That's stupid.
yeah.
Um, you mentioned kids, and like that's another one where I know in the fine print for the tickets that you buy, it says like, you're subject to blah blah blah
Mhm.
blah blah blah. And like part of it is you could be on TV or in a commercial. Heck, Dan Knopf actually, Steel City Dan was used in an advertisement by the Penguins one time because he was just at a game and they used him because he was standing up cheering.
Yeah. And it was being used like up to like 4 years ago.
Yeah, they kept on saying like you could swap, give us your old jersey and we'll give you a discount on a new one. And it was Dan. And so the longer they did it, I'm like, they must think his jersey sucks. Like, what? Did he get it at Gabe's? Like, what? Dan, come on. What shit jersey are you wearing right now? But, yeah, but like, I don't know, putting the kids on TV, whether they're happy or sad, it just makes me uncomfortable. Like,
Yeah.
you could put college students on. I get it, right? They're adults. They're kids, but they're adults. And like adults are adults. So when you go to the game, you have to understand and have the wherewithal that like your reactions, especially if you're sitting close to the field, could end up on national television. But kids have no concept of that. They have no concept of that at
None.
all. And so often it's like a kid crying or really upset. And I just feel bad for that kid because you know he's going into school the next day. Everybody's gonna make fun of him. And like but TV's getting it to help its ratings or whatever. Like I hate, and then it gets turned into a viral thing.
Oh
And then
yeah.
like, remember the Northwestern kid from Northwestern basketball crying like in the
Oh
Big
yeah.
Ten tournament? He was
Yeah.
that I still see that meme. That poor kid's probably in college at Northwestern now, and he was like probably made fun of so much for crying on TV. I don't know that I don't like that.
Yeah. I think about Piccolo Girl a lot. Remember the Piccolo Girl? I
Oh,
don't
I
even remember
forgot.
what school it was. I just
Yeah,
remember the Piccolo Girl just like crying, playing the fight song.
poor kid. Poor kid.
And that was so long ago. That girl's probably like, I don't know. She's probably like 30 now or something. I don't know. She's, oh man. But yeah. So I mean, I can't say that I don't enjoy those, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel bad for the kid, man. I said it's probably now I like think about it more that I have kids. I don't know that they didn't sign up for that. And the last one I have, man, is the especially at football games, especially in the NFL, the grown ass men with careers and kids that dress up in costumes every game. I'm not talking about Halloween. I'm talking about like the quote unquote super fan for each team. Stop putting them on TV because I mentioned whores for attention. These dudes, and it's always dudes, are whores for attention, and it's embarrassing. I can't believe they continue to do it. I saw one last week go on social media when the Chargers lost Monday night, and this dude, older guy, exactly how I just described, dressed up as like Rey Mysterio with a Charger mask over his face, and they lost like at the end of the game, and he's just like beside himself. Dude, you are an embarrassment. And TV, please stop encouraging this type of behavior. Stop putting them on TV. I cannot stand that. And it's mostly in the NFL, right? Like these dudes in each city in the NFL. I don't get it why they do it, but part of the reason they do it is because TV keeps on showing it.
it's no, I've never thought like, what are they, what's the Jets guy, like fire
Fireman
engine,
Ed.
fireman Ed or whatever? Like,
Yeah.
never thought that was, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, just please stop. Everybody stop. Anybody who wears face paint to a game, stop. Just quit it. Like, can't you just wear a jersey and be happy? Like, what are we doing? Like, please stop. Like, just it's serious enough. You bought like you bought the jersey. You know what I mean? Like, just be happy.
Yeah.
Yell, scream. You don't need to wear face paint. You don't need to wear like you don't need to do all that. Like, please stop. You don't need to do that. Like, that's for like if your kid wants to do it, cool. Like if I see college students doing it, cool. But like NFL, no. Please stop. Please stop.
Yeah. And could you
Like,
imagine if you saw your dad getting ready for a Browns game and dressing up like these
oh my
whack
God.
jobs? Like,
Oh
what are
my
these?
God.
What are they?
Dude. I'm putting on shoulder pads and all this other shit. Like, no, 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 no. Like Raiders fans, like, no,
Yeah.
none of it.
What are we doing here?
I no, just stop. I feel you. And we glorify it. So then people think they got to do that too somewhere else, or they got
Yeah.
to keep the tradition going. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, you don't. No, you don't.
It's too much.
It's too much. Well, Chris, before we forget, let's get to Dan.
Oh yeah, Dan.
Yeah, Dan, the other person of the podcast.
That's right. He put together a video for us, and I'm gonna share it and hopefully get the sound. And Didi,
All right.
if you don't hear anything, tell me, and then I'll try to figure it out.
Okay.
And if I can't figure it out, then Dan, you know what? You don't get to say
Yeah,
shit
you
on this
just suck.
episode of the podcast.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Yeah.
Apologies for not being able to be there this week, but I very much appreciate you holding down the fort. And I do want to check in quickly because there's something that I hope that you two can kind of help workshop through. Even though I'm not there, I'm just going to kind of throw something out, see if it works, and see if we can stumble on another great business plan, because that's what we seem to do here on the Brunch Breakdown, is come up with brilliant business ideas.
Better not be
And I
cup
think
holders,
maybe,
Dan.
just maybe, there's something here, but I need some help. I need some help from you both. And I assume we're talking dad brunch here today. That seems to be the theme whenever I'm not on the pod, and understandably so. So as dads, I'm sure this time of year, this week in particular, Halloween, happy Halloween to everybody out there. You're faced with that decision as parents to who stays home and gives out the candy at the home base and who goes out with the kids for trick or treating. And I'm not sure which side of the fence you boys fall on that each year. Do you rotate? What has to happen? But it feels like somebody misses out on kind of that experience of being with the kids. And certainly that's most valued rather than sitting home and having to get up out of your chair every 30 seconds to 5 minutes, depending on where you live. So, what I've kind of started to lay the groundwork on is maybe there's a business plan in here somewhere. Maybe there's a business where maybe it's like a babysitter or like a house sitter where you hire somebody who's been vetted through the process, experienced, trained by our professionals at our company that you can hire to stay at home and pass out the candy on your behalf. So you, as parents, can both be out experiencing trick or treat with the kids. And
Didi, before we keep going, we named this Candy for Kids, and there's no way that that's a problem, right?
No, that's not a problem at all. I like it. Candy for kids.
Candy
Love
for
it.
Kids. Okay, Dan,
Yep.
continue.
maybe easier to play a little defense with two parents rather than one. Having to play zone 1-on-3. I'm sure that's very, very challenging. So I think there's an idea here where you have somebody trustworthy, again verified, because we have to work out the kinks where it's not somebody that's just going to give away all the candy, right? There has to be rules, procedures in place. Maybe you have an idea of how many trick-or-treaters you have every year, so you know how much candy typically gets given out. So we know if there's some funny business going on there. Maybe that person's paid kind of like a commission based on how well you think they perform to giving out the candy, giving out too much, maybe gave out not enough. Maybe you can hire somebody based on kind of spookiness level. We have like a 1 through 5 spookiness, being like, hey, we're kind of a house that goes all in. We need you to dress up and play the part. Or are you like a 1 where you're like, listen, come in your jeans, come and just relax, just be there because you don't want to be that house, right? Don't be that house where you're just not home. No one's home to give anything away because you both want to be out there. This is what helps solve that problem. So maybe you're just at a 1, just there, do the job, trick or treat, pull out the bowl of candy. That's it. Refill when necessary, and just kind of be a babysitter, house sitter that gives out candy for the evening. So again, I hope you can help kind of workshop this through some of the speed bumps, since you're both more experienced in this area of life, and maybe, just maybe, we can stumble onto another wonderful and brilliant business plan here. So again, hope to talk to you boys very soon next week, and happy Halloween.
Candy for Kids,
Yeah.
baby. Candy for Kids.
Candy for kids. Candy for kids. That's genius. I love this. Candy for kids. Well, make a jingle just like Cars for Kids, and it's gonna fucking go. People are gonna love this.
Oh
Yep.
boy.
Um, so this is funny just because what he described is what Siobhan used to do for uh a family that like she babysat for and like is really good friends with now. Now their kids are like all in there. I think the youngest is like 11, oldest like 17 now. But she used to go there and just pass out candy while they went out with their kids. And so she would just be like at the house and like, while everybody would go around the neighborhood. Because when we first started, I think, yeah, the first couple of years when we were like dating, we would just like go to Mandy's and like drink and like hand out candy to like people in the neighborhood. And everyone, the thing was, like Dan said in his business plan, it's like everyone knew Siobhan because like all the kids in the neighborhood knew her because she watched their kids a lot. So like everyone knew her. It was like, "Oh, hey, Siobhan, how you doing? Ain't seen you in a while." Blah blah blah. And like, everyone's talking. They're just handing out candy, and we're just just throwing them back on Halloween. So I like this plan. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's funny that Dan brought up a Halloween topic, and it didn't even occur to me that like maybe we could talk about Halloween on this episode because
I forgot.
we're gonna publish it the day before Halloween.
Oh yeah.
I just got too much dad shit to rant about. I totally forgot about it. The way we do Halloween right now is we do it all together. So what we actually do is we go out right at the start, and we'll go like down the one road, back down the hill, back up, but the girls like giving out candy just as much as they like getting candy right now. So what we do is while we're gone, we're the house that has like the bowl with the sign that says take two, and we have the mini candies out. And then when we get back, that's when we start handing out king size stuff because
Oh,
we are a king size house. Okay.
okay.
We we don't have we're not really much of like a finer things family, right? We're pretty humble. We're pretty down earth, you know what I'm saying? But we give out king size candy because we want to trick people into thinking that we are finer things family.
Listen,
So that's what we do. We wait till we get back and then we hand out the good stuff. So if you're trick or treating and you're listening, give it about a half hour, then come by my house.
yeah, so I am a person who puts the sign out and just says take all of it. All of it. I just put take all of it. Like I don't care if one kid takes it all. I just want it's there, take it. I don't care who takes it because we're usually not home. We usually go trick or treating in like another friends of ours like neighborhood or something, which might be different this year because it's funny when you've watched your neighborhood turn because we've been here for almost 4 years now. And it's just like there's all old people in our neighborhood, and we knew that like when we moved in, which is one of the things I like about our neighborhood is because it's like a bunch of people who all raise their families in this neighborhood, and it's like, oh, it's great. But as we've moved here, it's like people have unfortunately, some people have died, some people have or people have downsized, like the guy who moved out of this house, like he lived in this big house, raised like 5 kids or whatever, and then just was like I don't need this house anymore, and then sold it. So now we have so many more families in this neighborhood. So I think we might actually be trick or treating in our own neighborhood now. But I'm a person who puts the sign out that just says just take all of it. Like just take it all. That's what I need. This year be interesting to see what happens. Dan's actually gonna be here for Halloween. Dan will be here for Halloween. On Thursday. Him and Shannon are coming in. So uh yeah, I don't know what I'm doing for Halloween. I'm
Well,
thinking
make him hand out your candy.
wow. That's it. That's what I'm gonna make him do. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make him hand out the candy. I'm like, guys, I had a plan for you to go out and I'd meet you out later, but you know what? You're gonna hand out my candy first.
Yeah, if Dan's so passionate about this business, let's trial run this shit. Halloween's coming up. Sit outside, Dan.
That just hit me. Oh my God. That's the trial run for his business. Well,
Candy
sorry,
for
Shannon.
kids.
Shannon just screwed up your night.
Yeah, Dan's got a great business idea, so you guys can't go out tonight. Sorry.
Oh God. That's amazing. But yeah, Halloween. What are the kids being?
We're all Spidey and his amazing friends, which
Oh,
was
nice.
Olivia's idea, but then Olivia was like, "You guys should be that, and I will be Elsa."
Okay. Yeah. That's
So that's us. And what about you
yeah,
guys?
that sounds about right. I mean, I am not, I don't know what I got a doctor like coat and a stethoscope on at a shoot one time. So this year, and I've been like, if I go out for Halloween, I'm going to wear that in some way. So I'm gonna be a doctor.
Bro,
It's very simple.
I know this is not fitness brunch, but you will go viral if you wear that stuff and pretend you're a doctor on TikTok and just make shit up about health and fitness.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. That's good.
All you need are the
That's
props and
good.
people will believe you.
That's good. Yeah, because it's a real stethoscope. Like it's real. Because the reason they had to give it to me is because they were like, "Oh, did you put that in your ears?" And I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "All right, well, it's yours." I was like, "Why? Can't you just clean it?" And they're like, "No." And then I found out from Siobhan that her that like when her mom was in like nursing school or something, like it was like a big deal. Somebody like put on her stethoscope and it was like, what the fuck? And like
Uh-oh.
everyone wanted to like kill that guy because he
Uh-oh.
just randomly put on just a random stethoscope because it's like goes so deep in your ears. And I didn't know that because I'd never put one on before. I don't know if you've ever put one on before, but like it's in your ear, like it's uncomfortably in your ear. So I guess it's how they can hear shit and whatever. But like it's fucking wild. But but Mayhem's Baby Shark Major is going to be a Rams player. He's got the whole football uniform. We'll see if he actually wears it or not.
Hopefully he's not Cooper Cup because he might be gone by then. Okay.
Dude. Puka Nakua. That's what we got. And then searches Red from Rise of Red, and it's a whole from Descendants Rise of Red, and it's a whole costume. It's hair and boots and all this thing, and it's like looks pretty badass, but it's a lot. So hopefully, her and my wife
Nice.
don't kill each other on Halloween night because it's a hell of a costume. But I got I got two people with some big opinions on Halloween, and that's I don't know. I hope we get there. Hope we get there.
Good luck.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of commitment going on for this costume, but yeah, Halloween should be fun. All right. Well, the all right. So I think we're gonna save microwave for when Dan's here next, and then so I want to talk about your what happened on Thursday. You went to the game.
Yes, I did.
Things didn't go well at
Well,
home.
yeah. Oh, the game was great, man. We had beers. We talked football. Pitt won 41-13. The game was great.
Uh-huh.
It was me, my dad, my cousin Mark, and our friend Steve went
Hmm.
to the football game. My mom helped out my wife with the girls for bedtime. And as we got into the third quarter, started getting some texts. Started getting some texts like, "Hey, this is okay. Couldn't get Shar down, so we're gonna try Liv. Okay, Liv's asleep. We're gonna try Hal. Okay, I'm trying to put Hal down. I hear Shar downstairs screaming at your mom, and then it's like all this stuff is happening, and it's like, okay, I eventually get the text right around the beginning of the fourth quarter. It's like, you need to leave and come home right now. So that's what I did. Now, luckily, at least from a football perspective, it was a blowout. So I was actually kind of itching to leave anyway because those night games, man, that's a late night. Okay,
Oh yeah.
so that wasn't too big of an issue. But yeah, I get home and our oldest is asleep in bed. There's nobody. There's one light on in the house, but I'm hearing voices. So I go upstairs, and my wife and our two youngest are in our bedroom. The middle child is screaming, and nobody's happy. So then I take her, put her to sleep, and the night ends. But yeah, it was like the biggest drama from the Pitt football game on Thursday night was what was happening at my house. And I feel bad about it. Was thankful that my wife put up with it so I could go to a football game, but it did not go well. And I'm thinking the rest of the way we're probably going to have at least another night game. So I need to figure out how to do this better. the
So
next
what time was it that you got home? You talking like
uh
10,
11.
11? Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
It's shot and for perspective for our listeners, my daughter Charlotte is normally asleep by 8:30.
Okay.
So we are way past that, 2.5 hours past that. I ended up getting her to sleep just before midnight.
God. Oh boy. Yeah. Our kids have a pretty specific bedtime routine, and like it all started like when Saoirse we were in when Saoirse was younger. She made her bedtime 7 o'clock, and we've just made it 7. It's been 7. Everyone's pretty much out by 7:30. Sometimes Major runs in and out, like losing his mind. But like, uh, yeah. Oh gosh, you guys gotta switch up your plans. I think whatever we've done before, we gotta change it. We just gotta change it all.
I know.
And we gotta flip this before whatever the next night game will be, whatever you think it is. Because I imagine you can probably look at the schedule and be like, I think it's gonna be this game, right?
Yeah. So as we're publishing this on Wednesday, the this coming weekend will be away.
Yeah.
The next two weekends are at home. Um, one of those games is Clemson.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah.
And I think Pitt Clemson is most likely going to be a night game. Like that game day could be at Pitt, to be honest with you, because Pitt
Yeah.
might be like 8-1 or 9-0.
I mean, if they're undefeated, they'll be in the top 12. And if Clemson keeps winning, they're already, what I mean, they'll probably be in the top somewhere where somewhere in the top 5 or maybe.
Right.
Yeah. That could be a
So I
yeah.
think that's going to be a night. So we got to figure it out. Now, the interesting wrinkle here is that we've been going through some the bedtime routine had worked for a while. It's currently not working, and to all you future parents out there, be aware that this stuff rolls in waves. Stuff will work for a while and then it will stop working. And then you got to figure shit out again. It might be bedtime, might be something else. I Friday, so we had that really late night Thursday. Friday, I woke up and painted a room because we're moving Olivia to a new room. We're moving Charlotte to Olivia's room. We're moving Hallie to a new. So everybody's moving into new rooms, which could go well or could be a heaping pile of disaster on top of the already disaster. You feel me? Like this could be
Yeah.
great or terrible. And so yeah,
Oh boy.
I don't know, man. But I'm hopeful that like give it 2 to 3 weeks and we get into a good spot by the time Pitt has another night game.
What time do you start bedtime?
Normally around 7:30.
Oh my God, start earlier. Switch it up. Start earlier. Start bedtime at like 6:35. And like, do and I imagine you have like Alexa in your house, right?
Yeah.
All right. You got to be like, you got to have the kids be like, all right, guys, we're going to bed in 10 minutes. Tell Alexa set the timer for 10 minutes. Like, Saoirse does it. She's so happy to do it. The kids are so happy to tell Alexa 10 minutes till bedtime. They get really excited to do that. So they just kind of know. Then the alarm goes off. They may fight for a little bit, but then you're just like earlier than your fighting would have been before. So it's like start earlier. So then you can kind of get it out of there and then they will go to bed earlier, even though it's still the same amount of chaos. It's just like you're getting it done earlier.
Yeah.
Start earlier. And
It's
then you
fun.
might get lucky because some nights you might just end up, you're like, holy shit, it's freaking, how did we got so much time.
I
It's
know, man.
amazing.
Because it's a tough balance because like the kids like the bedtime doesn't go well and it takes longer and longer and longer, but then up like they got to wake up the next day at the same time because we got to go to
Yeah.
school. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so I just set up for no sleep, which is
Yeah.
not ideal. It's funny though, because at the game, as I was getting these texts and sharing them with my dad, who's almost 70, Steve, who has no kids, and my cousin Mark, who has a 5-month-old, they were all telling me what to do. I'm like, guys, I don't think you know what you're talking about. I was like, I don't think like everything you're saying we've tried. Okay. We have not tried going earlier, so maybe that's something. And like Dee Dee, your feedback is a bit more applicable to my situation considering your kids.
I
There's
would do
three of them
anything.
and they're the same age basically.
I would do anything to know what what did the 5-month-old dad have to say? Because
Well,
if he looked at me, I would have just been like, bruh, like, get out of my face.
yeah.
Like, stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Mark, I mean, his feedback was just like, I mean, his kid's 5 months old. They're very easy sleepers at 5 months old. And
there's
so
nothing.
I was like, wait till you get your first ear infection. I actually said that to him. I was like, wait till they get the first ear infection and then call me. Okay. Because it changes quick.
Note to all parents, if somebody with one kid tries to give you parenting advice and you have 2 or 3 toddlers, look at them in the eye and say, wait till you get your first ear infection.
But
That's the comeback. That's
credit
it.
credit, my cousin Mark is awesome, and he received that very well. And like he wasn't trying to tell me what to do, but we were all sorting it out together. He's like, yeah, I don't know. His son's name is Dean. He's like, Dean's just an easy sleeper. I was like, listen, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Wait till you get your first ear infection.
Yeah, yeah. Just let it be known. You're at church. You see somebody just over there. They're burping their little baby. They're looking at your kids. They're like, oh man, look at those crazy kids over there. They're burping. They're like, go over there. You look at them right in the freaking face, and you're like, wait till you get your first ear infection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Life changes.
Chills down their spine.
That's right.
They won't even know. I didn't even know what an ear infection was. I was like, what the fuck's an ear infection? I don't freaking know.
Oh,
I know now.
It's just the worst. That's all.
It's the worst. Yeah, it's just the worst. Yeah. But that's the thing. Start it earlier. You guys gotta flip it. Whatever you're doing, it's not working. Put your thing down, flip it, reverse it. Start bedtime at like 6:45.
Because a lot of people say, well, push it back and like just let them tire themselves out, but that's not always how it works.
No.
Like oftentimes if you go too long, kids get delirious and then it gets harder to get them to go to sleep. And that's where
Yes.
Shar was at on Thursday night. She was so far past her bedtime, delirious, that like it was impossible to calm her down because she was just like a drunk person. It was crazy.
Yeah, you got to start earlier because that's how it is. Like when we've had some late nights or some trunk or treats, some Halloween things, whatever. And like when the kids have to go to bed later, it's not great for our lives. And it's not like their fault because it's not like we were just like sitting at the house. Like we just were doing other things. So we were
Yeah.
out later. And like, or they'll be asleep in the car for like 45 minutes. And then we come home and it's like mayhem. She transfers super easy. And then like Saoirse will be asleep and Major, he's like, no, like I'm ready to fucking rage.
Yeah, dude.
Let's go. And it's
A
like,
short
oh,
nap, a short
yeah,
nap can derail everything.
everything. So, but yeah, I say you start shit earlier. Whatever you've been doing, don't do it anymore. Get this shit started.
What,
I need you to
whatever
go to
you're
Pitt
doing,
Clemson.
whatever you're doing's not working, bud.
No, dude. If the kids can be up till 11 o'clock, dude, whatever you're doing, we got to stop. We just got to stop. Like, whatever that was in the past, we
Yeah.
stopped. We're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
We're not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't drink on Wednesday nights anymore. Like, we just stopped doing it. It's in the past. We don't do it anymore. All right? Like, that was a time in our lives. We don't do that anymore. So
Yeah.
now we do something else. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. Like we spread those drinks out over 2 weeks now. We don't just do it all in one.
And
So
all that time we spent drinking on Wednesday nights, now we are just wrangling children during that time.
yeah, which honestly, sometimes when I wake up in the morning, my body feels the same as it did when
Dude,
I drank on Wednesday nights.
I feel you. I'm the same way, man. I was sitting in church today. Not only were my kids like not cooperating, but I'm like, I feel hungover. Like I felt, and I didn't drink yesterday. So what is going on? This is ridiculous.
Oh God.
But Dee
Well,
Dee, we're gonna be really depressed when it's over. Just
oh,
remember that.
I'm so depressed when it's over.
Remember that. Yeah.
It's so depressed when it's over. Whenever my kids are watching their own TVs in their own rooms at 11 o'clock at night and I'm asleep, it's gonna be so depressing. I'm gonna cry so hard.
You'll
Like,
cry yourself to sleep, Dee Dee.
my
That's how it's
God.
gonna happen.
It's gonna hurt so much for me whenever, when my kids are just doing whatever the fuck they want to at 11 o'clock at night and I'm asleep. I'm just gonna cry so much. It's gonna hurt. My God, man.
Get
It's
emotional
like
just
the
thinking about it.
stupid Taylor Swift song. Oh, baby, don't you ever grow up. Don't you ever grow up. I'm like, I swear to God, I'll kill someone if I hear that song. Like, I swear to God, like, I swear to God, like, the internet makes me hate shit like that. Oh my God. Want to kill people. But yes. Chris, we have gone on meandering journey today. And we got to get to music before we get killed by our wives for still
Yeah.
doing this podcast.
I thought
Um,
it's been fun, Dee Dee. But
it's super fun.
I'll be honest with you. This was therapeutic. I needed it. I will also be honest with you that I did not bring up my list of music today. So
You're terrible.
I don't know
You
what
are
my songs are for today, but I will send them to Dan. And I just promise
beautiful.
y'all, that like, I've been listening to some great music. It's been real good music, and you're all gonna love it. But I would love to hear what you've been listening to, Dee Dee.
Well, I've been listening to Let's Go Back by this band called Jungle. Maren Morris, People Still Show Up. And I went to this new music showcase a couple weeks ago, and this girl named Emily Moore performed this song that I'd never heard before. I'd never heard any of her music because it was a new music showcase that I went with my friend Austin. And she played this song called Someone Else's Wedding, and it is a very sad and depressing song. And I was like, but this song is so well written. It is so good. And then I honestly hadn't stopped thinking about it, and she released it, and I was like, the song's awesome. So check it out. Emily Moore, Someone Else's Wedding. It's really freaking good. So yeah. So we got some Maren Morris, Jungle. Yeah.
You can take that depressing song, record a new parenting monologue over top of it, and depress a whole generation of millennial parents this week.
Huge. Well, that's what we're listening to. Check out the Sounds of Brunch on Spotify. It's got 2 weeks of music on it, and it's awesome. Tell Siri, tell Alexa to play the Sounds of Brunch. Chris, any final thoughts on the brunch breakdown today?
Hey, Dee, we've covered a lot of ground. I've emptied a
We
lot.
have.
I've pretty much emptied the clip that is my
Yes.
brain today. I think that we have a perfect opportunity tonight to carve out a new bedtime routine, and I will certainly keep you posted about how it's going. And I guess all of our
Yes.
listeners will just have to wait till next week to hear about how horrific it has been.
Absolutely. And that's the brunch breakdown. We're out.